If something unexpected happened today, would you be prepared or scrambling? Let's talk about it today at the Tiki Bar, 6 p.m. Eastern. Be there.
No filter, no sugar coating, life no send warning. Ready or not, life knock on the door, say one phone call change everything for sure. When the storm rise, can you stand firm? Are you still unprepared when the tables turn? Ready or not, time can't.
If something unexpected happened today, would you be prepared or scrambling? Let's talk about it today at the Tiki Bar, 6 p.m. Eastern. Be there.
Preparation and the lesson, life I confirm. 1 minute to up, next minute to drop. Bill stop, pile and the income stop. Got to say no, so you never expect no reality. It no time for neglect. Savings and plans never set. Now you're deep on the edge, full of regret. Everybody strong till life get real. Tell me how you cope when the pressure you feel. We laugh, we drink, we vibe on the night, but deep down we know ourselves something not right. We push it down. Tomorrow no promise. Keep it real. Ready or not, life knock on the door. One phone call change everything for sure. When the storm rise, can you stand firm? Are you still unprepared when the tables turn? Time can't rewind. Better build now, don't wait one time. Preparation are the lesson, life I confirm. Family depend on the moves where you make. One wrong step could be too much at stake. Insurance, savings, plan for the worst. Cause when crisis come, who going first? We love to spend, but yet we save till we find we self deep in the wave. Legacy more than the things where you buy. Is what you leave when your time pass by. If today was the day, would you be okay? Or would you wish, say your plan one way? Not fear, we are push, just truth we are speak. Strong foundation, let the weak become peak. Ready or not, life knock on the door, say one phone call change everything for sure. When the storm rise, can you stand firm? Are you still unprepared when the tables turn? Ready or not, time can't rewind. Better build, no, don't wait one time. From the calm to the chaos we are learned. Preparation of the lesson, life I conquer. So tonight, we're not just reason. We are build. We are plan. We are protect with future. Winstone Tiki Bar. Are you really prepared?
Yes, family. Good evening, blessed Saturday to each and everyone in the building. Welcome back to the Tiki Bar. Guess what? I know we have been out of pocket for a little bit, but guess what? That's life, right? That's what we are talking about tonight. Life. Because we can always prepare, but we never really and truly prepared. You know? So, if this is your first time in the Tiki Bar, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I'm over here. I'm working on two different devices. I want to make sure I say I got everybody locked in. So, if you haven't been to the Tiki Bar before, make sure you understand, say this is about just real talk. All right? And we want to make sure say when I understand the rules of the Tiki Bar, which, of course, when you step in, make sure you like up the live. That is your admission to the Tiki Bar. And we have pinned the chat. So anyone at any time, as we call it, you can step up to the bar, join the conversation. All right? You don't have to show your face if that's not you. But if you want to, come up on the bar and join the conversation. We'll also be watching the chat to make sure, say, you know, we keep up with the chat as well, because this is an engaging conversation. That means the people in the live chat plus the people that are up at the bar are all involved in the conversation. So anyway, once you like up the live, you will get your armband and security will let you in. Now, if you're a new content creator or somebody new to the channel, I will make sure that I'll go in, make sure say everybody is got their armband, which is you get a blue jacket, that's your armband. All right, if you're a player, pay attention. And then you can link up with somebody you never link up with before. So just like a regular bar, and I'm not saying everybody here has been to a bar before, but just like a regular bar, you can mix and mingle. So the first couple of minutes of the live chat, we're going to mix and mingle, get to meet people that you've never met before, introduce yourself, connect with them. That's how we do it. That's how the bar works. So first things first, I'm going to go into the chat. I'm going to make sure I say I acknowledge everyone that's in the chat tonight. So right now let me see who I got in the chat tonight. Let me go over here to my other screen. I got Bentley World, Bless Up Yourself, Bentley World TV. Welcome in to the channel. Let me go ahead and get you your armband. If you've already liked up the live, I'm going to go ahead and add you as a participant in the live chat. And I got Nina in the building. I got Miss Noreen. Who else is here? Who else is here in the building? Let me scroll up and see who I got. Who else I got? That's the one thing, my people. You gotta multi-sequencing. Or, you know me always say multitasking is not a real thing because you can only do one thing at a time. So I got Miss TT in the building. Tim Mitchell in the building. Bless up yourself. Who else is in the building? Jerry Butler family. Yeah, man. Marines and Army mom. Welcome in. It's going to take my StreamYard. StreamYard has been kind of having some issues lately. So it's going to take a minute for me to get everybody's comments in. But I got my phone ready just in case. And that way, if you see me looking off to the right, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at who else is in the building. And like I said, the chat is pinned. So if you want to join the conversation live, or if you want to, as Macaulay, step up to the bar, you can step up to the bar at any time. We'll get you in on the live chat. So I hope everybody has been doing well. It's been a busy couple weeks for me, family, because I couldn't do the Tiki Bar last week because I was working. And, you know, as we said, with the conversation we're having tonight, that's life, you know. You got to do what you got to do, right? The bills got to get paid first. You know, so that's how it goes. You have to make sure, say, everything is taken care of. I mean, you can make all the plans you want to, but you never know what's going to happen in life. Okay? So tonight, the topic is, are you really prepared? You know, so right now, while you're in the live, go ahead and give me a drop where you're from. You know, where you're coming from, what state you're in, what country you're in, you know, what municipality that you're in, so we know and we can big you up. You know, Jerry, well, going. I got Jamaica Shore Fishing in the building. Okay, Tim says Chef Civi is laying down tonight, so she's relaxing. That's all good. That's what it's supposed to be. It's the weekend. That's what you're supposed to do. Take a break from life and enjoy yourself, you know? Or in Jamaica, as we say, full enjoy yourself, you know? So that's what the weekend's made for. It's made for relaxing. As much as I work on the weekend sometimes, you know, that's how it goes. You got to pay the bills, like I said. So, welcome in, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Like I said, I appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me. You know, it's been, like I said, last couple of weeks. And again, I will be out next week and again. And then after that, I'll be out for another 3 weeks because it's life. It's the job. Got to take care of the bills first, you know. So, anyway, Can you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me. And if you can see the pin in the chat, let me know. I know we've gone through this a couple of times, so we want to make sure that anyone that wants to come up on the live, I have to pin the chat in the horizontal screen. Horizontal screen, because it won't come up on the vertical. All right. So let me see who else is here. Tim says, "Hi, Marines and Army Mom." He says, "State of confusion." Yeah, man. So anyway, we are here, and we are here to have a good time like we normally do. Have a spirited discussion, and it's open discussion. All right. So all I ask is that you be be respectful of each other's opinions, because we all might not agree, but it's all about understanding, right? We're all about understanding each other's comments, understanding where we're coming from, why we say the things we say based on how we were raised and all this other stuff, right? So it's all about respect for each other. That's why we're here. And we can have a spirited conversation without fighting. And if you fight, then I have more than enough security here to make sure that that doesn't happen. So anyway, we're gonna get right into it. So as I said, welcome to everybody. Um, Welcome to my channel. This is Winston Chronicles. You know where we go. Let me see. All race lives matters. Hey, how are you? All race lives matters. Welcome in. Welcome into the live chat. Thank you for being here. If it's your first time here, go ahead and like up the live, and you're welcome to join the conversation at any time. As again, I always say, it's all about respect each other's opinion and each other's comments. All right? Because we're not here to judge each other. We're just here to have a spirited conversation. All right? So we keep it real, we keep it honest, and we talk about things that matter. So tonight's topic, if you have seen the thumbnail, it's all about, are you prepared? This is one of the things that's kind of resonated with me for a while now, because with everything that's going on in the world, you have to ask yourself, are you really prepared? And not just with what's going on in the world, but just with your everyday life as well. You never know when things are going to change. Life hits without warnings. You know what I'm saying? And let's be real. Life doesn't just send you a text message first. It's not like, hey, this is what's going to happen tomorrow. You have to be prepared for what's going to happen. And, I have this philosophy: if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you don't get usually a warning for a hospital visit. You don't get a warning before an unexpected bill. You don't get a warning. And, I'm smiling, but you don't get a warning for someone when you lose someone you love. And that's the question. It's simple. If something happened today, would you be ready for that? And drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat right now. Are you prepared? If you wanna, if you're prepared, leave a thumbs up. If you're not there yet, you can leave a thumbs down. And we just want to see where everybody stand right now. All right. So if you are prepared, like legitimately prepared, give me a thumbs up. If you feel like I'm not really there yet, I'm still working on it. So your thumbs down doesn't mean you're not prepared. It just means you're being honest, and you feel like there's things that you need to do to get you to that point where you are prepared. All right. Devil Dog in the building. What's going on? Devil Dog. Hoorah. As you can see, I don't have my hat on tonight. Yeah. It's warm outside. And family, usually I'm outside at the Tiki Bar. I've been doing this inside for a little while because the weather here still hasn't progressed to where I want it to where I can be at the Tiki Bar. So I'm hoping The next one, I will be outside at the Tiki Bar. And if you guys have been following the channel, you know I had to rebuild this entire Tiki Bar because it fell apart during the winter storm last year. So all race life matters said I love real people. Hey, you ain't gonna get nothing but real people over here. So, you know, we make fun of each other. You know, we're a strong community, and you know, we keep it real. Sounds like an acronym, but we definitely keep it real. You know, so welcome in, welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Let me go ahead and get you your ticket here, your armband, and now you should have your blue armband. All right. So now you're officially at the Tiki Bar. So anyway, let me know, guys, if you can see the pin in the live chat where you can come up on at the bar at any given time. So anyway, as I was saying, if you feel like, give me a thumbs up if you feel like you're prepared. If you're not prepared or you're working on it, give me a thumbs down. So I'm gonna wait for everybody to do that for me. At the same time, I am checking to make sure that I can see everyone. I have to do two lives right now. So I got the horizontal, I got the vertical. All right. So hopefully at some point my StreamYard kicks in. StreamYard has been lagging a lot lately, but I'm trying my best to keep up with the chat. Okay. So I'm going to try to acknowledge everyone that's in the chat right now. But if I don't acknowledge you right away, it's because of that delay that StreamYard is doing right now. All right. So going back to what I was saying, I still haven't seen any thumbs up or thumbs down in the chat as far as where people are, you know, in the chat. Oh, there we go. Now it's finally kicked in. Let's go. Eddie. Hold on. Let me see. I got some people on the road right now. Who that?
What's up?
What's going on, man?
What's up, Winston?
Oh my God. Double trouble. Double trouble. Who put you guys together? I'm calling 911 right now because you guys shouldn't be. Oh, never mind.
The
You got
wives,
911 in the vehicle with you.
the wives are in the back seat laughing at you at what you're saying.
Really?
Yeah, Tammy, his wife, says she agrees with you about him being double trouble.
Where you guys headed? You headed home?
Yeah, we just coming back from that meetup down here in South Houston.
Okay. How was it?
The
Pretty good?
Outdoors with Big Mac meetup.
Okay. Yeah, I was on his live the other night. I was
Yeah,
I saw what I
there was Outdoors with Big Matt and his family, Texas Down Under, Cassidy, and them, and his son Matthew. There was Ed at Whistle Stop Homestead. There was Jason and Molly Pest Owner Outdoors. There was me and Gary. There was Mona was sifting some soil. There was G Dad. Fishing with G Dad. What? Yeah, Molly and Jason, Pest Hunters Outdoors, HFH Joe. Uh, let's see, uh, Beth and Neil. So there was about, I don't know, 20 some, 30 people there maybe.
Oh wow. That's a good turnout.
So we had fun. It started raining and stuff, and that kind of shut things down. And then plus the wives, you never can take them anywhere without them wanting to go home.
Well, I'm gonna say I'm glad you guys are driving because they probably would have kicked you guys out of the vehicle right now.
Who just hit me?
That was a dual hit. Yeah.
They both just slapped me in the back of the head.
Is that why you lean forward just a little bit?
Well, I didn't lean forward. My head went
Do it.
impact made it go forward.
$5. I'll do it again.
$5 super chat. You do it again.
So who's in the back seat? I got Jamie and who else?
Tammy.
Hi, Jamie.
Tammy, which is Rosemary
Tammy.
Gardens and Southern Crafts, and that is Gary's wife.
Outstanding. I love it when the wives come.
Yeah, well, my wife will talk, but she don't want to be on camera. If I tried to put her on camera, she'd probably put my head through the window.
Oh no, you can do that because that's that perfect.
Does she have the frying pan with her?
No, they're.
I don't need no frying pan.
Oh,
They're
she don't
okay.
need no frying pan.
Don't give us ideas, right?
By the way, this guy right here, he made chicken sketty for the meetup, and then I made some jalapeno poppers, covered in bacon, and I made some brisket, some pulled, some chopped brisket, shredded brisket actually, whatever. No, there was, but they grabbed them. They grabbed them quick. Like G-Dad took one plate, and Ed took the other plate. That's okay. They were delicious. We can make more. We got more of the stuff at the house to make more.
Look, I wish I could have made it, but work calls and life calls, and that's kind of what we're talking about tonight. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, but we got some women in the back that don't care about the live streaming thing, so I got to mute the mic.
All right, so,
He said, my wife said,
you know what, though? I'm glad you have both you guys and the wives in the vehicles, because then you can't just make up stuff, because I feel like they will contradict what you say. So you can't just make up stuff
where's Lynn at, Winstone?
She's upstairs. She'll be down in a minute. She's like making food. You know how we do. We're always cooking, making sure that the kids got something to eat, even though they're adult kids. But you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So she'll be down shortly. But I wanted to ask you a question. Since you have somebody, Bet Loop's driving, so he can focus on driving. So I got at least 3 of you to answer some of my questions for me while you're here. And I want to ask, have you guys ever been hit with something unexpected, like a medical emergency? I was going to say car breakdown, but since you guys are driving, I don't want to jinx you on that one. Something like a sudden bill that made you pause. What has that ever happened to you? I know it's life and things happen, but I want to hear from. I'm actually want to hear from the ladies first. You don't have to put them on camera, but I want to hear from the ladies.
There
first.
You
go. Yeah.
Well, camera's off.
What is the question?
Here, camera's off, but you can hear.
So what I'm asking is, have you ever been hit with something unexpected? Like no matter what it is, a medical emergency, a sudden bill,
all the time.
So tell us how you deal with that. How do you deal with that? Because I know, for me and Lynn, I am a non-stressful kind of person. She's gonna come and contradict that, but I'm very like a non-stress kind of person. But how do you deal with that? Like, did you already have a plan for it, or did you not have a plan for it?
I'm joking.
Okay.
No, I have goat therapy.
You said goat therapy?
And chickens.
And pigs and chickens and dogs.
And we just go talk to our animals and everything's okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I go sit out in the yard with the turkey. Everything's cool.
I like that turkey, by the way.
I agree.
Know that turkey. I know that. I know that turkey very well. So for you, it's
No,
it's
you stress me
animal
out.
therapy. Yeah. So
Yeah,
for you, it's
I
animal
look at
therapy,
definitely.
you and
right?
you stress me out.
You
So
got this.
let me ask you this: what if it's a financial situation? How do you deal with that? Do you have a plan in place just in case?
Hold on a minute.
Hold on. No, you didn't do nothing. You're good.
We broke it. Okay, what was the question?
Yeah. So I mean, like, what if it's a financial situation that you hadn't even planned for? Like,
What now?
how do you
Financial.
deal with that?
I go borrow money from Gary.
I go borrow money from Gary.
Well, you know what? That's a good plan. As long as the person that you're gonna get the money from is gonna
He's my
give you the
backup
money.
plan.
So that they always say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So that's a good thing to have at least a backup because at least you have a person that you can count on to say, look, I'm
Yep.
just gonna borrow some money from Jerry, and he's gonna give it to you, right? But at least you have a plan.
Yep.
What say you, Jerry? Go ahead,
What say who?
Jerry.
What say you,
I'm
Gary?
sorry. No, I'm sorry, Betlu.
What?
Or you, Eddie. I mean, what do you say? The ladies say that
Hey, what was the
they're just
question?
going.
What do I do if I go borrowing money from myself? No,
Stress situation.
well, in stressful situations, I yell at Eddie. Yep. That's what I do because he's usually the source of the stressful situation. Well, I'm just being honest with you.
But you know what? You guys have a great relationship, and that's really good because not everyone has that family or community around them that they can just rely on when needed. You know, um, which is a great thing too. I mean, at the end of the day, that's a good backup plan, knowing that you can count on your friends and family to support you. But not a lot of people have that um, opportunity to do that. So what would you do in a sense where you don't have that person to back you up like you guys do? Do you have a backup plan to the backup plan?
Yeah, backup plan is a backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
Backup plan. Probably if I really need serious guidance or counseling, I'd probably talk with my brother. Um, that would be Russell, his brother Russell. My brother Russell. Not his brother Wyatt. I mean, if I needed money, I'd go to the bank. But if I need counseling and wisdom, I'd probably go to my brother Russell. He's he's a which Russell's his younger brother. Yeah. Wyatt's his older brother. Well, my brother Wyatt won't love to take this.
We're not
I love him, but
we're not
But and that's good, and it's good that at the end of the day, a lot of people don't have that option. Some people don't live good with family. Some people have an issue with family, and they can't just count on the next person that's available, and that's why it's good to have a backup plan to the backup plan to the backup plan.
well, I'll tell you this. The fact is, in this life, there's not a whole lot of folks that you can count. A lot of friends, acquaintances, what have you. But, got to know who to go to in the right situation. It kind of depends on, what the deal is. If you've got a thing with your car, you don't go
you don't ask your banker or you don't ask your stock, guru about how to fix it on today. You know, you got to go to the right person. And it kind of depends. There's that old saying, "I got a guy for that."
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a guy for just about everything. There are some things that you do that just allows a wider variety, I guess, of thought. Experiences. Well, you got to know who to go to, who to turn to. I'm truly blessed to have good friends and good friends.
Mm-hmm. And that's
I'm
important.
doing that.
No, I said that's important. Having good friends and good family that's going to support you in
I
any
got your six,
situation.
Gary. I appreciate it. I can always, hey, if I need somebody to holler and complain and gripe and moan, I got it.
Yeah, I got your six unless whoever's behind you has a gun. Then I'll be in front of you.
Okay. But if I need a good laugh, I go to Ed.
Well, you see what Red said. Red said these two guys in the same place in one place is pure trouble.
I think I
So
pretty
hope,
It
hopefully
does
you got a
help.
backup plan.
Sometimes it just helps to gripe and moan a little bit. And it's nice to have Eddie to complain to because, well, it is true that he's usually the reason why I'm complaining, but all he's going to do is complain right back. So,
Well,
See,
I can see Eddie has a backup plan because he's making you driving. So he's
it's
like,
like
okay, I'm gonna have the cop drive. So just in case we get pulled
I hate
over.
this car.
it's misery. Misery loves company.
Not that I hate the car.
I fixed the car for you so you wouldn't hate it.
I still hate it some. It's not as bad.
He did not like the car before because he don't know how to drive, and the car would keep yelling at him like when he would cross the line, the car would go beep 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 and try to pull it back into the lane. And
You can turn that off, right?
well, yeah, and I did that for him. But what I'm saying is like, and then also like he don't like wearing a seatbelt, even though he's a popo. And dude, this car really screams at you if you're not wearing the seatbelt. And so that's why he hated the car.
Well,
Well, I see he's wearing his seatbelt, so that's a good plan.
well, it depends on what kind of wreck you get into. Studies have shown that 40% of the people that have seatbelts would be better off, without having worn one if they got into a wreck.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
hey, it's the law, though. When you got to obey the law, I get that. But the bottom line is, I hate the car, and it's not as bad right now because Eddie at least looked up how to turn off the
Lane keep assist.
lane keep assist. You know, it kept grabbing the wheel and won't let you turn.
but see that's part of planning, right? Because you guys planned on what route you were gonna take, how long the trip was gonna take, what you needed as far
Yeah,
as
well,
where your locations are, where
we're
your
trying to
gas
keep from,
stations are, right? That's part of
we just
planning.
trying to keep from paying tolls.
That's
I'm just
part of
trying to
planning
keep from
too.
paying tolls.
That is part of plan. That's part of, and that's what we're talking about is preparation, right? So something simple as taking a road trip. Most people don't even pay attention to that, right? A lot of people don't pay attention to the fact that okay, you guys are driving, so you've probably mapped out your gas stations, your locations. If you break down, no, you didn't do none of that. You just winging it.
I wing,
a wing the prayer.
a wing and a prayer.
Oh my goodness,
We just
this
go
is
swinging up against the wall, see what sticks.
oh my goodness.
I
That
don't know what you think you're gonna be slinging in my car.
Well, I do know the directions. You know, at least to get home.
We already got bugs all over, and I had it washed.
Well, the bugs are gone. It's raining.
How long do you guys have left to go on the road?
Half a mile. Keep left to continue
Oh,
on
about an hour.
Express.
Hour and 2 minutes.
Okay. All right. So we got a little bit of time. You know, I'm usually here. We're only 35 minutes in, so hopefully I will see you guys when you get to the house. You know, I know your signal's coming in and out. So
How did we get on the toll road?
so for the people that don't know, we got Belt Loop, we got Devil's Dog,
They're
we
not
got
on the
Date.
toll road, bro.
We got some of our family here. They're on the road, but they did check
Now
in.
you're getting on a toll road.
Oh, that's the road.
Stay on Pennsylvania Express for 5 miles.
Okay.
That's the toll road.
Okay, never mind. Thank you for letting me know.
And they don't have a plan. They're just winging.
I'm
They're
not
just on a
supposed to
wink and a
be
prayer.
doing nothing.
Eddie is my
It's sidekick. It's
my
shot.
sidekick.
It's shot.
He's the Robin to my Batman.
No, I'm the Joker to his Batman. He's my nemesis.
He's the navigator.
Let's see what it's telling.
And that's what you need. And you know, funny you say that, right? Because a lot of times most people are not prepared. You know, most
You
people are
can
not
call him
prepared.
Robin.
They're just hoping that nothing happens, right? So sometimes you don't have a plan. You're just hoping that nothing happens. That's most people in general. They're like, you know, I have an idea of where I'm going, what I'm about to do, but I hope that nothing happens. And hope is not a
Well,
plan.
I think it's an idea that you know which direction you're going in, and you can never account for all the variables.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
What direction are we going?
we're heading that direction.
Which way is that?
That is north or west, east. That's north or east, or both. North. We're north,
Probably has it right there.
and you got kind of an idea where we're going. And at some point, we'll recognize something. But you have but the thing is, you know,
We'll recognize it when we get to Maryland, Winston.
You know, there's this invention called GPS. It actually works.
well, I mean, you get accustomed.
It's a good backup plan, you know.
He's using the GPS. He just don't pay attention to it.
It's saying go to 288. That's a dead gum toll road.
288 is not a toll road.
So that's what that way.
No, stay here.
Okay. See,
You
it's a
got it.
helpful Robin.
Look,
So,
I'm just worried about the ladies in the back. Ladies, make sure you have your seatbelt on. Don't you know if
well,
you have any?
they're color code.
What about them?
I say I'm just worried about them with you two guys in the front.
I wouldn't worry about them too much. We're in Maryland.
That's okay. I know they'll take over if you guys can't figure it out.
Yep, we in Maryland. I bet they got different payers.
Miles. Use the left lane to take the Sam Houston tollway exit.
No.
So you guys are breaking up. I think you guys are in like a dead spot or something.
I'm blaming Devil Dog.
All right. Have a good one, Stone.
All right, we'll catch up with you in a little bit.
Sure, no problem.
Be safe on the road.
Adios, brother.
All right.
Just a second.
All right, family. So that was some of my crew, my family. They always support the channel, and they are really good people. So they had a YouTube link up this weekend, and they are on the road heading back home. So it's great that YouTubers can link up. I had the opportunity to link up one of my YouTubers, Misha Bless. So Misha, big up yourself. I haven't been able. I was just trying to engage them trying not to distract them, right? Because they're on the road and they're driving. And one of my pet peeves, when I'm driving, I pay attention to the road. And I don't like when people are distracted when driving. So, anyway, we are in the building. Let me get back into the chat and see who's in the building. I was trying my best to keep up with the chats, and they're going so fast. But let me see. I got Box Food in the building. Misha Bless. Big up yourself for the raid. Thank you so much. Trini in Finland. Yo, Reds, respect. Thank you for the raid, my family. Thank you all for being here. Like I said, it's been a busy couple of weeks for me. Have not the opportunity to do Tiki Bar, but you always know I will let you guys know if I'm not available. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna check in this weekend with my family so we can talk. Because this kind of resonated with me. And the last couple of weeks, if you haven't checked out the previous Tiki Bar chats, go back and check them out. But we've been talking about a couple of topics that have been like, serious in some senses, but just something to make you think, right? Because again, life comes by so fast, and sometimes you don't even realize, you know, what's next, and you have to do some form of preparation, right? And you're not gonna, like, Devil Dog said, you're not gonna be, or Bet Loop said, you're not gonna be prepared for everything, but it's good to have a plan somewhere, somehow, somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know what's gonna happen, right? And when it hits, they always say, um, bad things happens in threes, right? In the military, we call it Murphy, or in the law enforcement, we call it Murphy. When you're planning, Murphy's planning everything against you. You know what I'm saying? So here's the part that people kind of really don't like to talk about, right? I mean, a hospital visit can cost thousands. Like, you might go in, you might think it's COVID, and you go in for, a really bad cold, or what you might think is COVID. And next thing you know, the doctors do a examination, and I can actually resonate with this because that happened to one of my neighbors. Of course, I'm not going to call any names, but one of my neighbors, during COVID, this was a thing that really happened for a lot of people, because most doctors didn't want to see you in person because, of course, they didn't want to get sick, right? And so there were a lot of people that didn't get the opportunity to go see their regular um, practitioner on a regular basis. So, because they were doing everything remotely. And I remember my neighbor, I used to see her all the time. Like, be out in the yard, gardening, doing what we do. And we'd talk all the time, and she would work on our garden, I work on my garden, me and then out there. And right after COVID ended, it was literally like I didn't see her anymore. And it was right when the weather was changing, so it was the normal time for her to come out and do her thing and work in the garden. And next thing I know, I see cars coming, cars coming, cars coming. And her husband, which is they were both great neighbors. And her husband, I was like, hey, what's going, I haven't seen her in a couple of days. And he's like, oh yeah, or a couple of weeks. And he's like, yeah, she went to the doctor finally when everything opened up, and was like, she was at stage 4 cancer, and literally, I went, they were doing like an in-home hospice, and literally I walked over. I think the last time I saw her, she didn't look nothing like she did when I knew her as this vibrant person, you know? So, I mean, it hit him like a ton of bricks, just like that, instantly, boom. And next thing you know, it's in-home hospice, and 3 weeks later, she was gone, God rest her soul. So, at the end of the day, they, I mean, in some senses, I don't know personally if they were prepared for that, but that's something that you can't really plan for. I mean, you can make preparations, right? You can do a will, there's a lot of things you can do in the background, in some senses, to prepare your family for it, because at the end of the day, when you're gone, you're gone. There's nothing you can do about it, right? And desert, yeah, it's at the end of the day, yeah, you can plan in some senses, but you never know what's going to happen, right? And again, a simple thing as a hospital visit, boom, and you go from, oh, it's a cold, to like, you know, cancer, right? Which is one of the biggest things a lot of people are dealing with these days. And you know what comes with that? The medical bills, now you got the family members having to, it might be a parent, it might be a child, it might be anyone in your family. And now you have to worry about having to, an unexpected expense that you have to worry about, you know, and, how do you deal with something like that? It might be at a time where, I mean, look at what's going on in the government right now. You have all these shutdowns, all these different things. So now it's compounded because, okay, you might have been, say you work like myself, I work for the government. If I was furloughed where I'm not getting paid to work, right? And now I'm in that situation. So I'm waiting for the government to open back up, and then I'm not getting a paycheck. I got my bills, right? I got my mortgage, I got my medical insurance, I got all the other stuff I got to take care of, food, all the stuff I got to take care of. And then now a family member gets sick, right? Now that's an unexpected bill that is compounded on top of what so I might have put a little money aside just in case something like that happens, but then that's another thing on top of that, because now I'm like, okay, yeah, I got enough money to sustain myself, pay the mortgage and pay the car payments and all this other stuff, right? But then now my parent, a parent gets sick, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to take care of my parents, you know, and it happens. It happens all the time to everyday average working class people, and at the end of the day, if a family member passed away, I mean, funerals in themselves are emotional in themselves, right? Because now you're dealing with not just the financial aspect of it, but then you might have to deal with the the family aspect of it. Because now, if a family member passes away, like a parent, and there's so many kids, and I've seen so many fights of how and it gets ugly, right? Where people are literally fighting with each other over inheritance or stuff like that. So it can be overwhelming, And at the end of the day, like I said, you can plan as much as you can. You never know how things are going to turn out, but it's at least you have a plan. You know what I'm saying? Let me go into the chat, since no one's up on the stage right now. Desert Living says, I'm working so much right now because of what's happening in the world. The government contracts are not stopping. The aerospace industry is crazy. I was not prepared to work 12 hours a day. And Desert Living, I can tell you this. I'm literally going through the same thing you're going through, because at the end of the day, like, I was in a program where I will say I had a lot more control of my time, right? And now I had to go back to working, like you said, 12 to 14-hour days. And at the end of the day, I was I had a plan for it. I was forward thinking, saying to myself, you know what? What if this thing doesn't work out? You know, what am I going to do? Well, I go back to work and I do what I have to do, right? Remember during COVID when a lot of people were working from home, you know, and people got comfortable working from home, and they didn't make a plan on, if this thing finally ended, you know, where were they going to end up? Are you prepared to go back to work? And there were people like that were like legit, you know, complaining about the fact that they had to go back to work because they had gotten so comfortable working from home not realizing like, okay, yeah, this is just a thing. You're gonna have to go back to work sometime, you know. So they got comfortable with that, you know. And that's the thing, is like when we get in our comfort zone and we feel like, okay, everything's going great, and then that one thing that happens and you're like, I didn't think about that, I didn't plan for that, you know. So, you know, at the end of the day, like, I feel like, you know how we pay for insurance, right? A lot of people, you know, there's all kinds of insurance. There's insurance for pretty much everything these days, right? And you think about it, right? You pay for insurance for years and years and years and years and years, and you never really get anything out of it. Especially if it's like, if you're a good driver, and again, doesn't mean you can't get into an accident, but it's having that peace of mind in the background that, you know what, if this does happen, I have something that is there just in case, right? Because I'm of the mindset, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. You know, Sir Godfrey, blessings and welcome, my brother. You know, so, and I always say it all the time, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, because when you need it, it's probably when you don't have it. You know, so if you look at it from an insurance aspect of it, you spend all this money years. I mean, some people spending, I mean, like I do. I mean, ever since I could afford insurance, I've had insurance to protect myself and my family, right? And I'm hoping that nothing happens, that I never have to use this thing. And you know how it is, car insurance, right? You get into a car accident, guess what happens? Even if it's not your fault, they're gonna raise your insurance rates, your premiums, right? Soul Cinder, welcome in. I don't know about that. Maybe somebody can answer that question for you. I noticed my fields weren't harvested yet. Know anything? No, I don't know. But I mean, if you have someone that does that for you, you might want to call them. So anyway, like I was saying, people ask some random questions. I don't have an answer for that one. But as we say, you know, you hope nothing happens, and hope is not a plan. You know, at the end of the day, hope is not a plan. You every day every time you step out your threshold is what I'll call it, right? That front door of your house, you never know what's gonna happen, right? And you know, you can say, you know what, I have a whole hoopty. I'm just gonna get liability insurance, you know, because I'm a good driver. I'm a defensive driver. I don't have to worry about it. But at the end of the day, it's not you have to worry about. It's other people that's on the road, right? So part of being a defensive driver is being aware of your surroundings, and you know, not being on your phone texting and all this other stuff. But just because you're not doing it doesn't mean there's not somebody else out there that's doing it. I see it all the time, right? Um, so you might be driving defensively, but that person that's not paying attention is the one that's gonna veer off the road, run across the median, and crash into you, right? And you're saying, well, you know, my car's paid off. It's got 400,000 miles on it. It's a Honda. You know, Hondas are good cars, right? They run for forever, you know. And you're like, I don't need all this insurance. And then, boom, somebody runs into you, and guess what? They don't have no insurance, right? Because they're thinking the same way you are. I don't really need it. I got a Honda too, you know. So what happens, right? You can't sue them because you ain't gonna get nothing out of it. And now you, God forbid, you get injured really badly, or if you have a family member in the vehicle and they get injured really badly, right? Now you got the medical bills you got to deal with, right? On top of your mortgage, on top of everything else that you already had to worry about, you know. So at the end of the day, you know, it's very hard to choose what things are important to you, right? When it comes to preparation, you know. So at the end of the day, it's the choices that you make. Yeah, you choose to, based on your income, based on your lifestyle, based on, you know, what you think is important. Um, that's up to you to figure out what's most important to you, and is it worth me spending my money on this? You know, so you never know. Um, let's see, Misha, my car was paid off. He wasn't supposed to be driving. Yeah, it happens all the time. I'm pretty sure there's probably like half the people in the chat right now that have been in a situation where it wasn't their fault, you know. But at the end of the day, if you decided that you know, I'll call it pinching pennies, or, you know, doing what you do based on your circumstances, that, you know, you got to spread it out sometimes. And everybody's circumstance is different, right? I'm not judging anyone on the decisions you make that you think are most important to you. Um, for me, it's more about, I'd rather have it and not need it than to need and not have it, you know. I mean, in the chat right now, let me get a one in the chat right now of everybody that has a will. I'm gonna let that resonate for a second. I'm gonna see how many people in the chat right now actually has a will. You either have a will or you're working on one. Thanks, Trini. So if you have a will, I'll be the first one to put my one in the chat. Right? If you have a will, or you are working on a will, put a one in the chat. All right? If you don't, put a two. And I'm gonna let that resonate for a second, because it's very important. And there's a reason why I ask this question. So in the chat right now, if you got a will, go ahead. Uncle Bill, welcome in. Uncle Bill said he got a will. Desert Living said she's got a will. You have to have a will if you're over 55. I tell you this, Desert. I live in Baltimore, Maryland. You need to have a will if you're over 25. So, you know, if you live to be over 25, you need to have a will. You know, it's again, the demographics of where you live kind of makes you make that decision. You know what I'm saying? But no, it's you know, why wait till you're 55? You know, granted, for me, I was in the military, so a lot of it the military provided, but I still had additional insurance. You know, so that's one of the things a lot of people don't think about. There are so many companies out there that offer additional insurance, because you think about it, if you have a career and you work your whole, you know, for the government here as a government employee, for me, my mandatory retirement age is 57, right? And most people consider that young. I consider it young, but like, so I have to work. Well, I'm 52 right now. I'm telling my age, but I don't care. But you know, at 57, I don't have a choice. I have to retire. So what are my plans prior to retirement? You know, I served in the military. I serve in my job right now. And there's a lot of other aspects, but, you know, putting that money aside, you know, because, you know, inflation, you know, a couple of years from now is not going to be the same as it is now. So what is your plan to put some additional funds aside to basically help you or protect you when now you are in your 50s and 60s, right? Um, is your plan that your kids are going to take care of you? You know, I would say I think that I know my kids are going to take care of me. No, I know they will. I have great kids. I have wonderful kids. But as a child myself, right? Because I have parents. My parents are at a older age, and at some point, I'm going to have to take care of them too. You know, so that all factors into all my planning, not just the fact that I have to take care of myself. I have Lynn. Lynn has me. Um, God forbid one of us are not here, which is going to happen. What's the plan? Are you guys, do you, does your spouse have all your backup information? A lot of times I hear people say, oh, well, even though there are people that are married that are like, oh, my account's my account. And, you know, my phone is my phone and this and that and whatever, and, what happens when, for example, Lynn takes care of all the bills. What happens when Lynn's not here and now I have to take care of all the bills? Do I have access to all the accounts? Do I know how to get into all the what her credit cards are, what my credit cards are? Like all these things is gonna cause an impact on you as an individual. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, life life is life, and things happen very fast when you don't expect them. I mean, I just had a friend that lost a family member, and it wasn't nothing. um what's the word I'm looking for? Expected, right? The family member just went to bed and didn't wake up the next day, right? I think most of us would want to go that way, but at the end of the day, that's life. You never know what's going to happen. We're here one day, next day we're gone, and you have to accept the fact that we're not going to be here forever, and it's good to have a plan, a backup plan, because yes, it's gonna put a burden on your family members um, when all is said and done, right? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You know, again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a death in the family or something like that. It could be just medical bills, or you could lose your job, you know. And like I said, when it happens very quickly, and it usually happens when it starts piling up. It's usually like threes, So I'm gonna do a quick self check. All right, so we're going back to the chat because right now everybody's scared to step up to the bar. I'm gonna take a sip of my water. So we're gonna do a quick self check, another self check. All right, so in the chat right now, you can type in the chat. Do you have at least $500? So we're starting at the lowest common denominator. Do you have at least $500 in your account saved right now for emergencies? So give me a thumbs up in the chat if you do. And I'm not trying to call anyone out, but I'm just saying, do you have at least $500 saved up right now for emergencies? Can't get a drink. Please on the house. Uh, Angela, it's BYOB. BYOB. Bring your own baby, your own bottle, whatever the B stands for. So I'm glad you're here. Welcome into the chat. Welcome to the Tiki Bars. BYOB. I didn't play the Tiki Bars theme when you came in, but it's BYOB. So I'm getting a couple of thumbs up here. Do you have life insurance? Give me a thumbs up. There you go, Angela. BYOB. So my next question is, do you have life insurance? Give me a thumbs up. I'm just going to ask just a quick series of questions. Do you have life insurance? Thumbs up. Kev Nish. Okay. I'm a, I'm a, I'm gonna wait for a couple people to answer. Misha says yes. All right. Kevinish says yes. Desert Living says no. Tim says yes. Godfrey says no. Okay. All right. Next question. Butler family says no. You get 3 thumbs down. Wow. Okay. All right. And the last question, does your family have, which I mentioned before, does your family have your important information? Right? So, important information being, give me a thumbs up if your family has all your important information, i.e., they have access to your will, they have access to your phone and your contact information. I mean, things that if you are not here, they would need, right? Whether it's your spouse, whether it's your kids, um, whether it's your parents. I mean, does your family know your important information? Because Tim says no will. Um, I'm getting a couple of thumbs up. 401k will be left for my family. Okay. Godfrey, thank you, Godfrey. Yeah. What Godfrey said, like up the video. All right. Pin numbers. Yeah. That's important. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, that's important because people don't think about that. I get it. Everybody's kind of a little bit secretive with their stuff, but I tell you this, as you get older, Trini says accounts dry. It don't matter, Trini. It don't matter. You know, it's for both of you. But at least there's some access to it. There might be an annuity in the event. Well, I won't say that part, but you know what I'm trying to get at is the important thing is that your um, your family members have access, and I get it. Some people don't trust all their family members, and of course, you want to give that information to somebody that you trust. At the end of the day, right? So, um, not getting any older, stop having birthdays, but you know, at the end of the day, you you see it all the time, and I'm pretty sure. I think I've been on a couple of different lives. People are talking about the fact that all the stuff they went through when parent passed away or whatever it was, that people had to go through all this craziness with family members. It happens. It happens more than people realize. Um, and like I said, if you're sitting there like, I don't have that yet, that's okay. I mean, tonight's where it starts, and that's the reason why we're having this discussion. Um, is that a lot of times people get so caught up in work and life, they really and truly forget about the things that are important. And to me, family is important. You know, um, not leaving a burden on someone else is important. So I mean, you can start tonight. I mean, think about it. I always said, like, I drink beer. Okay, I love beer. You think about it. I'm pretty sure I spend more than $100 per month on beer, right? So it's probably a lot more than that. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. But if I decided to stop drinking, or just say, you know what, I'm gonna put $100 a month away a month. That's $1,200 a year. I mean, and don't touch it. Put it in a trust or something like that. Over time, that's a lot of money. You know. I figured in the last, 25 years I spent in the military, in the last 30 plus years I spent working for the government, if I had put away $100 a month from the time I started working, it'd be a lot, you know. But granted, I probably dipped into it to buy some more beer, but this that's neither here nor there, But yeah, it's just kind of something to think about. Because it's never too late to start, And like you said, you never know what's gonna happen. Um, Des Living said the family tried to fight it, but there was nothing that could be done. I mean, and honestly, everyone is different. I mean, for me, I don't see myself fighting over property. Like, you can't take it with you anyway. So, like, at the end of the day, there are people that are literally waiting for their parents to go away. I'll use that term so they can get what they have. And I'm like, really? That's your plan? you know? So, at the end of the day, you know, like I said, life insurance, a lot of people don't believe in it. A lot of people don't believe in insurance in general. But again, it's one of those things, right? It's better to have it than not need it. I mean, most of us pay insurance our whole lives and never had to use it, right? But do you know when you're actually going to need it? No, you don't. So it's just good to protect yourself. And I'm just using insurance, car insurance is just one aspect of it. I'm just saying in general. Um, most conversations have an uncomfortable talk before it becomes urgent. You know, a lot of people have a side income, right? Have you ever thought about a side income? I mean, I think a lot of people that are on here right now are content creators, right? And I mean, there's an opportunity for this if you have good content. that you can have this as a side income, right? You can build it the right way, and there's an opportunity there for you to have this as a side income. Or for some people, it could be a permanent income, But at the end of the day, it's part of your preparation, right? Just in case, you're not gonna just. I don't think anybody here that has a full-time job is just gonna boom leave their job because they've made, a couple change off of YouTube, right? Because at any time, as we see, this platform can shut down, and what are you going to do then, right? Now you can use YouTube as a gateway to further yourself and get opportunities to, you know, make yourself a little bit more comfortable. But nothing is guaranteed, right? I mean, there's people that play the stock market. There's, I buy stocks. I kind of dabble in a little bit of things, but I'm not by any means a stock guy. I don't know everything about the markets and stuff. I just have good friends that be like, yo, buy this stock. And I'll be like, all right. And I'll get that stock. And, it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's still there, So at the end of the day, it's all a part of the plan, right? Because like I said, if you fail the plan, you plan to fail. All right. So let's go. Let's move on. All right. So let's change how we think about this. Being prepared doesn't mean you're scared, right? It means you're responsible, right? It's all about responsibility. Preparation doesn't stop the storm. It just keeps you from drowning in it. That's Auntie. Welcome in, Auntie. It's my favorite auntie in the building, right? So let me say that again. Let me say that again. Preparation does not stop the storm. It just keeps you from drowning in it. All right. So it's like you live in the desert, right? I know. I'm not even gonna say that. I'm gonna be like Noah, right? I'm gonna get biblical on it right now. When Jesus told Noah to build the ark, he's like, "Yo, ain't no water around here, bro. I ain't trying to build no ark. What you talking about? Ain't no water. We in the desert. Ain't no You ain't trying to build no boat, right? But he decided, you know what, I'm gonna listen and I'm gonna prepare myself because the boss says, you know what, build you a boat. Even though we're in the middle of the desert, you know, I'm like, I don't know. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and listen up and build a boat. Right? And guess what happened? When the storm dropped, he is prepared, right? So that's just a euphemism for, hey, be prepared, right? Because you never know, right? I know I got a little bit, I know I got a little bit biblical on that. See, Auntie says Noah is a great example. Thank you, Auntie. Yeah, because he said, it's a desert said, right? But Noah did the right thing after. Yeah, but sometimes you just never know. And boo, welcome in. You just never know. So it's like, okay, I would rather have it and not need it. You know, because guess what? Everybody's gonna be like, man, you're a fool. Why are you gonna build a boat in the middle of a desert? It's kind of like Miss Titi. Miss Titi always talking about how she live in Florida. It's always warm in Florida. I don't need no jacket. I'm just gonna wear my shorts, and she be throwing it at us all the time. Miss Titi, bless up herself. I love you, sis. But look, what was the temperature in Florida this year? It was like in the 30s. You know what I'm saying? And she was crying foul. So she got nothing but shorts to wear. You know what I'm saying? She ain't had no long pants. She had to just she got to deal with the weather. She wasn't prepared because the weather's always nice in Florida. And then next thing you know, the iguanas falling out the trees because it's so cold. You know, now people got to eat iguanas because they ain't got no food. All the plants have died out and all this other crazy stuff. So nobody was prepared, right? Nobody in Florida was prepared for all this cold weather because they were so comfortable with the lifestyle that they had, and they didn't think it was going to get down to 30 degrees. Hi, Cheryl. Welcome in. You know what I'm saying? So you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. It's always good to just use the opportunity to be prepared. The only thing I need now is an underground bunker. Oh, no, I ain't gonna put that out there. What'd you say, Auntie? Underground bunker? Miss TT and her Daisy Duke shorts. Yeah, I bet you them things didn't work when it was 30 degrees. And then mango trees was dying. But anyway, anyway, I would say that phrase again before I move on. Right? Preparation doesn't stop the storm; it just keeps you from drowning it. Okay, the storm's gonna come either way, right? You just gotta prepare yourself for the storm, right? Because you never know, right? And how do we prepare for it? I always say, I've said it so many times on not just on my life, but on different lives, I don't worry about the things that's beyond my control. Okay. I always worry about the things, well, if it's within my control, I don't worry about it, right? Because there's something I can do about it, right? So if it's something that is outside of your control, guess what? You can still make some preparations, but at the end of the day, it's out of your control, right? If it's within your control, then guess what? You can make preparations for it, right? So then you don't have to worry about it. Um, you know, it's interesting how we get caught up in the what I say, the nuances of life, right? That you know we're worried about. I want to get 1,000 likes and 4,000 watch hours or whatever it is. Like all these things that we put passion into that are not important, right? Yeah, in some sense it could be depending on what you're trying to build. But it's like, okay, I'm putting all this effort into building my YouTube channel. Okay, how much effort am I putting into making sure that my car insurance is paid and making sure I'm putting some money aside for medical bills and how much, you know, using the opportunity to put money aside for in case I get into a car accident, a car insurance, getting full coverage versus liability insurance. Like all these little things that, I mean, you have to prioritize what's important to you. That's what it really boils down to, is at the end of the day, prioritizing what's really important to you, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. And again, this conversation is not about putting fear into you, you know. It's more about just making you think about the things that are important, you know, kind of taking a step back and thinking about, man, you know what? I never really thought about, you know, making sure that my family has all access to all the information just in case something happens to me, you know. And it doesn't matter what kind of career you work in, you know, it doesn't matter. I mean, like I said, every time you cross that threshold, every time you step outside that front door of your house, you belong to the elements of the world, and anything can happen, you know. So yeah, absolutely, Misha. See, Misha said you got to take it one day at a time. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you have to plan for the tomorrow too, right? You can't. I mean, you are taking it one day at a time, and you can adjust that plan based on what happens day to day, right? Some people live day to day. Some people live paycheck to paycheck, right? At the end of the day, you have to prioritize what bills are most important to you, you know. And day to day is it's real for a lot of people, you know. Day to day is real for a lot of people. Like people wake up every day and be like, okay, I'm gonna pay electricity today because it's winter, you know. And if I live in Finland, like Trini, it gets minus 30 degrees, they're going to find us frozen up in this house if we don't pay the electricity or the gas bill so we can keep the house warm, right? The summertime, we could probably skip that bill because it's hot. I can take some heat. I can take my shirt off and pour some cold water on me, So you have to prioritize what's important at that time, And like Misha said, if it's a day-to-day day-to-day thing, then you still have to prioritize what's important on a day-to-day basis. That's important to you, that's important to your family, so you have to pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying? So you never know what's going to happen. Let me see what Misha says. Two things we can't change: yesterday and tomorrow. Yeah, yesterday it's the past, gone. We don't know what tomorrow brings. Yeah, and that's true. The one thing you can do, you can plan for tomorrow. It doesn't mean it's going to turn out the way you think it's going to turn out, but at least you have a plan. You can always readjust that plan, right? Versus just going into tomorrow blindly saying, okay, tomorrow's a new day. I don't care what happens. I'm just gonna see how it goes. That's like I said, hope is not a plan. You have to have a plan. Every time we make a decision, we come to a crossroads, right? Um, so every decision leads to another decision. I always say there's multiple crossroads that we always run into in life. So every decision leads to another decision, to another decision. It's until we leave this earth. That's what life is. Um, you can hope that those decisions are hope that things work out you think they are, or you can actually make a plan just in case that hope doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me, I'm a little bit thirsty. So yeah, and like I said, it's not about putting the fear in people, but it's more about, they always say stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. you know um I think I've had a lot of people say to me, well, you think that way because you were in the military for 25 years and so forth and so. No, not everybody that served in the military thinks that way. You know, there are people that served in the military that um, maybe got hurt and could no longer serve, um, and they didn't plan because the thing about the military is that I'll give you a perfect example. One of the hardest things, people don't realize this, one of the hardest things for military members is transitioning back to being a civilian. Um, blessings, Jerry. Um, I'm sorry, I forgot to take the ads out. No, actually, I did take the ads out. I don't know why you guys are getting the ads. I took the ads out because I wanted to keep this engaging. Um, so I would check on that. But when I've been setting this thing up, I've been trying to set it up to where there's no ads during the live stream, so we can have a good great conversation. But yeah, it is very hard for military people to transition back to civilian life. I mean, now in the last couple of years, um, there's a it's gotten somewhat easier because I would say in the last 15 years or so, they have changed it to where a lot of the jobs you do in the military. Yeah, I see that. YouTube is still putting ads. Yeah, I know. I know. When I set up StreamYard, it asked me, do I want ads? And I said no. But yeah, I don't think YouTube's going to let me run this thing without putting their ads in. Hi, YouTube. Don't demonetize me. Nah, I don't care. I really don't. But yeah, it's believe it or not, leaving the military coming into the civilian world it's a transition because you're so used to getting that check, you know, first of the month, or if you get paid twice a month, boom, boom, money's in the bank. Let's go. Middle time, where when you work a civilian job, you never know if that company gets shut down. I have friends that work for companies that overnight got shut down and company packed up in the night and rolled out, and guess what? You ain't getting no backup paycheck. You ain't getting nothing, right? And here you are living paycheck to paycheck, saying, "Okay, my next paycheck's coming in next week. I'm gonna pay off this bill." Boom, company's gone. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to have a plan. It's good to have a backup plan because you never know what's gonna happen. Uh, Auntie says, "I'm always dreaming, but it's hard when you have dream killers around you. It takes a little bit more effort to make things happen." Yeah, I mean, you know what, um, Auntie, like, there's always gonna be people that's gonna try to hold you down, but again, you control what you control, right? And you can't worry about what you don't have control over. What you do have control over is making a plan, just in case. You got to make a plan for them too, right? You gotta have a plan for the haters. You know, you got to have a plan for. So you have to have a plan for everything. And so Marine Armstrong says, "My life comes before YouTube." Yeah, absolutely. You know, so just like you have a plan for what you plan to accomplish, you got to have a plan for the haters, because the haters are going to try to pull you down. So you got to be ready for the haters, right? Goes back to my whole concept of this conversation. Got to have a plan. What's going to happen if when I start getting successful on my job, I get successful on YouTube, I get successful on this project that I'm working on? Because the haters are going to come out, right? So you got to have a plan for the haters too. It's the backup plan to the backup plan, right? That's right. Family first. So it just goes back to my concept that there's nothing wrong with having a plan. It might not work out the way you think it's going to work out initially, but at least you had a plan, you know, versus sitting there trying to figure out, okay, well, you know, I'm just going to throw it in the pot, you know. I tell you, I'll tell you this story. Tell me if you heard it before. So, because it's kind of a religious story, you know. A lot of times people don't like to go into the religion thing. So I'm not even going to call out what type of religion it is. But there were three religious guys or girls, and they were based on their religion. They were asked, okay, um, how do you? So they were all pastors. Let's put it this way: they were all pastors, priests, whatever they were in their church, right? And they're all in the circle. My Jamaican people probably know this story, but they're all in the circle, and they were asked, like, when you get money in the collection plate, how do you separate what's for the church and what's for God, right? And one person said, what I do is I make a big circle on the ground. I get all the money from the collection plate. I throw it in the air. Whatever lands in the circle is for God. Whatever lands outside the circle is for the church. All right. Listen up now. You guys paying attention? Give me a thumbs up if you're paying attention. Give me a thumbs up if you're paying attention to this story right here, because it's all about planning and mindset. So give me a thumbs up if you understand so far. Okay. So the first preacher says, I throw everything in the air. Whatever lands in the circle is for God. Everything outside the circle is for the church. All right. Miss G, you know that story? Okay. So the second person says, and again, I'm not, you know, um, picking any particular religion. So the second person says, the second church leader says, well, I'm actually the opposite. What I do is I draw a circle on the ground, and whatever goes up, I throw it up in the air. And he's like, whatever lands in the circle is mine or the church, and whatever lands outside the circle is for God. All right. The third person, of course, I will say this person is a Jamaican priest, not of any particular sect or religion. He says, well, I'm glad you guys have a good plan, because what I do is I throw everything in the air. Whatever stays up there is for God. Whatever comes down is for me. Oh, my God. That one never gets old. I'm sorry. But, you know, that's his plan. That was his plan. Yeah. He said, whatever goes up, whatever stays in the air, God keeps, and whatever comes down is mine. So, but yeah, that's life in general. You know, everybody has a plan um, on what they really think life's gonna. I just had to say that, Auntie. But you know, again, that's their plan. You know, so at the end of the day, we just really and truly have to just, um, like I said, hope is not a plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You know, um, so you know, you if it's easier said than done. Like I said, everybody's circumstances are different, um, and you know, we see the struggle, right? We see people out there struggling. We see a lot of, you know, different people in different circumstances that we try to support and help, right? And again, it's not for us to judge them based on their situation, right? So it doesn't mean that they didn't have a plan, right? It just meant that whatever plan they had wasn't sufficient enough based on the circumstances that they're in. You know what I'm saying? So it's we don't have the right to judge people based on their situations because everybody's situation is different, you know. And sometimes, I see a lot. One of the things I see a lot, like working in Baltimore, is you see a lot of um, homeless, homeless people on the streets, with signs and stuff like that. And sometimes you wonder to yourself, how they got to that situation, right? Um, Sometimes it's a choice of their own, right? Sometimes it's a choice of their own. Um, I mean, for someone, like I said, I work in law enforcement, and I see both sides of the spectrum. I see people at their worst, um, and even then, I can tell you this: for me, like I try to help as many people as I can. Yeah, I mean, if you guys are familiar with me and my channel, you know this. But I also don't encourage people to be lazy and not take responsibility for their actions as well. You know what I'm saying? Because there are some people that figure the game out. That's their plan. Their plan is they know if they stand on a corner, and I've seen this for myself, that I've seen people on the corner. I remember, man, this was like over 10 plus years ago. Um, Sitting on a corner doing my job. I won't tell you what I was doing, but I was doing my job. And I watched this guy. I mean, this dude he was at this intersection, and I say, I was there for about 8 hours, and I remember this dude, like there had to be over 10,000 vehicles that passed that one intersection, and the dude had a cup and a sign, and he was just like, people would stop and give him whatever here and there, here and there, here and there. And I remember this guy pulled up. He decided to come right next to my vehicle to use the bathroom, right? And I'm in a vehicle like blacked out, you can't see me or stuff like that, right? And I remember looking at, because he's right on the passenger side of my vehicle, and I see him go into his pocket. And look, hold up. Let me see if I can roll this thing up so you guys can envision what I saw. So this dude goes in his pocket and he pulls out a knot. I mean, it was probably thicker than this. You know what I'm saying? He pulls out a knot, and he's like, and so he peels off all like the big bills, rolls that into a second knot, puts that in his pocket, and then he keeps all the ones, and then he gets that and he puts it back in his little cup, and he goes back to doing his thing on the corner. But at least he had a plan. Because his plan really worked for him. This dude was making, like, I guarantee he was probably making about, if he stayed there for a week, he was probably making about an easy, probably 4 or 5 grand. And this is just me guessing at the lowest level. You know what I'm saying? So his plan was, you know what, as long as people are going to give me money, I'm going to be out here asking for money, because if he wasn't making no money, by all means, he wouldn't be out there. You know what I'm saying? Facts. So, but for me, it's like, when I see people on an intersection and stuff like that, I would rather buy them food than give them money. Because if you say you're hungry and I offer you food, that means you are hungry, right? If you say, no, just give me the money, I'm like, no, I'll be back. I'm gonna circle the block and I'm gonna bring you some food, you know. So Jerry, I'd like to... Okay, all right, Jerry. Yeah, I think you guys got my number. So yeah, give me a shout. But yeah, you know. So his plan, and there's a lot of people out there that their whole goal is to just scam people, right? Um, you as a person that's of a good heart that's trying to help, right? I mean, you're gonna try to help that person, right? But at the end of the day, you don't know you're being scammed at that time. Um, so it still doesn't stop you from doing what you're supposed to do or doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? So um, don't be discouraged by my story. It's just Auntie says scammer. Auntie, you're like Jamaicanized right now. I love that. If you guys don't know Auntie Miss G, that's my favorite auntie. I'm her number one nephew. So just so you guys know. All right, Reds, you already know. So, but yeah, no. Like I said, you know, I didn't get it. Sometimes, some weekends, I get a lot of people up here on the live. I know, um, Belt Loop and Devil Dog and Jamie and the family. They were all traveling. So, but like I said, this is what it's for. Um, at any time, anyone can come up and join the life. You know, but at the end of the day, it's all about peace of mind. You know what I'm saying? That's literally what it's all about. It's um not just your peace of mind, but again, when you're gone, you're gone. There ain't nothing you can do about it. But if you have an opportunity not to leave your family in a bind, or leave yourself in a bind when you're not here anymore, um, that's what it is. So um I know thanks for everybody engaging in the chat. I know I need to find somebody to go over to. So they caught one let me see. They caught one last month that walked away from the corner and got into a BMW. Oh, that happens a lot, Tim. Excuse me. That happens a lot. The scammers are out there, so be aware of that. But like I said, at least he had a plan. Unfortunately, his plan was to scam you. So, but you have to again, just another way of being aware of your surroundings and you know understanding that you know life is not as I use the famous words of who's that? Who knows this one? Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. from from the famous. Some people probably don't even remember that. That's an old movie now, right? Forrest Gump. I would love it. I would have come with it. You didn't see the link, Misha? Oh, I know. I asked the question if did anybody see the link, because I put the link in the chat earlier, and I know it probably disappeared at some point. So just so you guys know, StreamYard has been kind of acting up lately. I don't know. I don't know what the do you see the link now? I don't know what's been going on with StreamYard lately. I know I pinned it in the chat. Um but it happens. It happens. Um but you got it? Okay. Yeah. So like I said, anyone can come at any time, and that's fine. I can talk to y'all. I love y'all. I don't need y'all to encourage me. No, I do actually. Yeah, and that's true, Tim. It actually hurts the people that actually need help. You know, um, that's the sad part is that it's like the little boy that cried wolf, right? Because I've seen a lot of people that they use the veteran thing and be like, oh, I'm a veteran, and of course, as a veteran, I'm going challenge you. I'm gonna be like, hey, okay, what branch did you serve and all this other stuff, Jerry?
Hey,
You guys,
do you mean? I was gonna say, do you mean the basement?
oh,
Till the end.
so am I. I'm in the basement. Okay,
Just put me back down. Put me back in the basement, and I'll wait till the end.
okay, I got you. Yeah. So that's Jerry from Butler family. So blessings, Jerry. But yeah, no, it's all about just family. I mean, having a plan, being aware, because like I said, life comes at you and it comes at you fast. Um, he said, "You try that." Auntie. Look, I'm not. I mean, I'll probably make a lot of money if I stood on the corner. I mean, just saying, if I, if I had a big tub, just I stay on the corner. I just like, no, I'm just joking. Just joking. What do you think? Give me a thumbs up if you think I'd make some money if I was standing on the on the corner with a sign. I've been working out, by the way. Can you see it? Can you see it? Look at. Yeah, I've been in the gym. Yeah, I don't look like I'm in my 50s. You know, Lynn's upstairs. She's watching, so don't get no thoughts. All right, but she said, "I hear you." You need to come downstairs. I need you to come work on who I'm going to go over, who I'm going to raid next. So come downstairs. Lynn's coming downstairs. Who I got? Let me see. I got Marines and Army Mom. Welcome in.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
How,
having me on panel.
how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm just hanging out in the basement like Jerry, you know,
Mm.
doing what I do, just having a conversation with my favorite people and my new people that are in the building that have stayed this long. Usually we go to about 2 hours, but we're almost there. How are you doing this weekend?
Like I said, I'm doing well. Getting ready. Mother's Day
Uh,
weekend. My son is coming to get me, and we're going on a fishing trip.
Outstanding. What are you fishing for? What's the
Uh,
plan? What's the
well,
plan?
now, if you will go to my community post, you will see a couple of weeks ago he caught a 15-pound largemouth bass.
Okay. Okay. I like that plan. Do you have boat space on the boat for like a third?
Uh,
You
oh,
know, I- you know.
we were bank fishing off of a bank well, more off like a pier, like I don't know really how to describe it, but you walk out off of a pier
Mhm.
and was fishing.
Okay. I love fishing. That's like second to like cooking, but they're about even. You know. So what can you tell us about? Have you been? I know you've been in the chat for a while from the beginning. You know. Do you think you're prepared for?
Um, yes, sir, I do because I have a will. Um, my sons have all of my personal information, as well as my funeral is already pre-planned
Wow.
and pretty much paid for. And I do have life insurance, and my life insurance is split equally between my two sons.
That's awesome. So what advice would you give to to the people in the chat about, being that prepared if they have the opportunity to do that?
You've got to prepare yourselves. And I started doing this Winston back after my husband passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I realized
Sorry for your
then,
loss.
oh, thank you. I realized then that, I was there to continue to raise our two sons, and I needed to prepare myself for when the day come that something happened to me, that my sons would be taken care of, even though they're grown men.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I want them to have what I have. And if they choose to set that aside for my grandchildren, they can. That's their choice.
Mm-hmm.
But I say prepare. You have to. You have to. We're not promised tomorrow,
Absolutely.
and the sooner you start preparing, the better off you are.
Mm-hmm. So you would recommend start preparing today because you're not promised tomorrow.
Right. If you haven't already started preparing, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And both your sons are in the military, right?
Yes, sir. Marine Corps sniper
Mm-hmm.
and Army infantry, boots on the ground.
So
But yes,
they have to be just as prepared as you are because
yes,
them serving in the military, they work in a career field that it's the same thing, right?
yes,
They
sir.
go to combat and not return. So it works both ways, not just for you, but for them as well.
Yes, sir. And, like I was saying in the chat earlier, I volunteer every Wednesday for a food bank.
Right.
And we pack up non-perishable food, breads, canned goods. Sometimes, we will receive donations of different meats and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a group of us, and we deliver to the elderly that doesn't have any family left, and it's really heartbreaking
Mm-hmm.
to see the elderly with no family members left, and the veterans that have no
Right.
family members left, and
Mm-hmm.
that's who we deliver to.
Mm-hmm.
And we also, there is a mother that she has, I think it was 3 children, and lost her husband about a month ago, and we found out about her. So we delivered her and her children some food.
Right. No, that's awesome. And that's what it's all about, you know, giving back, you know. And it doesn't have to be, you know, it might be food, it might be advice, um, for someone like you that has, as we would say in the military, you got your stuff squared away. you know, it's people don't pay attention to that, and it's refreshing to know that you can talk to someone that can say, you know what, because you've been through it, and you can say, I've been through it. I have, sons in the military that are going through it, that could go through it at any time, that I would have to deal with the situation if something happened to them, and for them at the same time to be prepared if something happens to you, and that's what it's all about, and I appreciate you coming up and you know sharing that story because that's important. I think it's different when people just hear you talk about it versus someone that's actually done it and going through it, you know. Um,
Yes,
so
sir.
I,
And that's like I said earlier in the chat also, yes, I have a YouTube channel, but
mhm,
my real life and my family comes before my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's it. That's it. The priorities. You have to figure out what your priorities are and figure out what's most important to you. And that's the basis of how you figure out what preparations you need to make. You know, it's like you said, the bills and everything else. Guess what? It's gonna get paid somehow, but you have to prioritize based on your lifestyle, your living conditions, and so forth. You know, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is making sure that you do have a plan.
Right.
So I appreciate you, Marines and Army Mom. Thank you for coming up. We're literally on the last 5 minutes of the chat, and Lynn is looking to see who we're gonna go see next,
Okay.
who we're gonna go visit next, because apparently I have to raid someone, and we're all about community and um, getting people to know each other. It's great to have I'm a part of Jerry's community, your community, uh, Des, Tim, and I think it's important to have that. That's part of my plan on YouTube is to maintain my community
Yes,
because
sir.
we support each other regardless, and it's not so much about the views and anything else like that. It's about having conversations like this, you know, where we've physically never met, but we can have an open conversation about our feelings and our thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And that's important. You don't get that a lot, especially on social media, where you can just be able to open up and trust that the people that you're talking to can understand where you're coming from. So
Yes,
no,
sir.
I appreciate you for being here. Yeah,
Well, you're
things is
more
all
than
about friendship,
welcome.
and I hope at some point we can all meet up somewhere. I know uh, Devil Dog and the crew they were all hanging out this weekend. Too bad I was working because I'm all about a cookout.
Oh, yeah.
You know me.
Yeah.
Bishop said food for them. So,
Oh, yes. Outdoors with Big Matt, Devil Dog, Belt
I know,
Loop.
I
Uh,
know, I know they had a
fish,
good time.
yeah, fishing with G Dad, fishing with G Dad's wife. And it was a big YouTube, Texas YouTubers meetup.
Did you go? Did you get to go?
No, sir. And I had a live stream before they all went, and I explained to them, I had my grandchildren before school and after school, and
Hmm.
I have them on weekends, so there was no way I could have went,
Okay.
but
Well,
I would have loved to have been there.
yeah. No, I'm sure they had a good time. They're on the road headed home, so they stopped in earlier today. But that's it. That is it. I mean, so I get the only person I see right now is Devil Dog. I know he's on the road, so we're gonna set up a raid to go over to Devil Dog. I don't see anybody else within my community that's live right now, which we're gonna set up to go over to Devil Dog after this. Um, Jerry, you said you wanted to chat afterwards, so I will. You have to tell me how to do that because I think once I end the stream, am I able to still talk to you? Okay. All right. Cool. So, Marines and Army Mom, thank you for being here. Look, thanks to everyone that was in the live tonight. It's always a good vibe. Um, I couldn't keep up as much with the chat. I had to show my muscles for Lynn to come down. She's like,
Stop it.
Hi, Mama Lynn.
Hello.
but we always try to have a good time at the same time. I know, like I said, everybody's got their stuff going on, and one of the things that kind of resonate. One of the reasons why I picked this topic was because of how things are going in my life right now. I don't want to really put it out there, but it just, based on how the situation kind of unfolded, I was like, wow, you know what? Even when I thought I was prepared, it was just something that I wasn't prepared for. You know what I'm saying? And, like I said, life doesn't send you warnings. You just deal with what you have to deal with. But at least, even though I didn't plan for this particular event, I still had I say I, meaning me and Lynn, but we still had a plan, to just in case something happened in some senses, right? And even though we didn't have a specific plan for this event, we still had a plan just in case. So that's what it's all about. So I appreciate everybody for being here. I won't be here again next week, and I'll probably be gone for like a month because I have another mission coming up. Again, like I said, my people, once I get to retirement, you'll be tired of me. Sir Oliver blessed up himself, So thank you again. Thanks everybody that participated. I think Lynn already set up the live stream to go over to Devil Dogs. Hopefully they have gotten home. If they haven't gotten home, they'll probably be on the street. But like I said, thank you. I appreciate everyone for the support for the channel. Oh, and by the way, before I leave and flip over to the other side, I am getting ready. I'm thinking about, I did an evaluation on my channel, and I had some recommendations on, I'm not going to change my full name. I'm going to change my name in some aspects. I'm keeping the Winstones Chronicles, but I've found that people love my food more than anything else. Nobody wants to see how smart I am and how scientific I am. And how I can build a rocket and all that. I can actually build a rocket, but I ain't gonna go into my education. But anyway, so I'm trying to focus my name on more on the food side, because I think people like the torture that I give them when it comes to the food. So I would love some suggestions on what you guys think my name. It's gonna be Winstones Chronicles. Whatever it's gonna be, something to do with food, something that's gonna make people come over to my channel and get some of the torture you guys have been going through when it comes to the food. Okay, so remember that. I would love for you guys to leave some suggestions in the chat, so I can definitely try that out and see what my new handle is gonna be. But again, thanks to everybody for being here. I love you guys. I will see you on the next one, and I will see you over at Devil Dogs. All right.
Thank you for having me on panel, sir.
Thank you so much, Mary Armor. I appreciate you.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
All right, Jerry. I'll see you. I'll talk to you in a second. Okay, so.